Oh, hey. So, trying something new. This is not comic book news. This is not on the comic book news channel. This is on Facebook. This is on YouTube. This is me. This is where I'm going to talk about anything that is not comic book related. Because, man, I live up here in the woods. Don't have a lot of people that I hang out with on a regular basis. Anyway, I got my tight crew. But now with the social isolation, not getting that social love that I need. Yeah, even Danny needs a little bit of that. Kind of a introverted, troglodytic hater of humanity sometimes. But man, times like this, my heart is overflowing. So today I want to talk about stuff, whatever I want. But one thing I'm going to talk about is graphs. So I want to talk about some graphs. So let's look at in the New York Times this cool graph about social distancing. And of course, it's an anti-Trump slant. That's not what this show is or what I am. Like, I don't like that guy, but I don't think he's the first terrible president, and he's definitely not the last terrible president. So, whatever. Anyway, we've looked at all these graphs and stuff before, and the whole flatten the curve thing makes sense. But man, the New York Times has this cool graphing stuff, these interactive graphs. And I thought this was really cool, where you can look at like, okay, so the light pink here is the number of infected. Here we are today on a timeline. The middle one is the number of hospitalized, and then the darker one is the number of deceased. So as we increase the length of intervention, right, we can help move and flatten that curve, right? And we get up to 15 days. That's a lot of people. But man, as we lengthen that, even at 30 days, wow, it's a dramatic difference. But if we could get, say, to 60 days, that's looking a lot better. And all the way out, we get to here, 90 days, it's wow. A lot better than this. Neat. I just like looking at graphs sometimes. So speaking of graphs, another graph I've been looking at almost every day, or chart I've been looking at every day, is the VIX, the volatility index. My buddy Ron likes to tell me this is such a key indicator in these crazy times, especially crazy economic times. I mean, dude, everybody's thinking about COVID or whatever. I'm thinking about the economy as well. I mean, this started because of COVID, and it's intricately tied to COVID. But people are looking and going like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy on the dips. I'm gonna buy on the dips. Everything is dropping." Well, that might be good. That might be bad. But if you look at the volatility index, this is something created by the Chicago Board of Options Exchange, and they look at people that are trading futures on I think it's on the S&P 500. So they're looking at people that are making bets in the future, shorts and long bets, right? Puts and calls or whatever. And they come up with this number that indicates like how frothy is the market. This is how my buddy Ron describes it. And this number we're at right now, we've been in the 60s for a while here. And I'm looking here back 5 days. And if you look back a month, you can see, it started to rise then, but then it was in the 40s. But if you look back 6 months, and then you look back longer than that, you look a year, you look at 5 years, and you look at this low VIX number. Okay, and we go to the max, and we look at when the VIX was last in this territory. And it was, October 2008, right? Not a great time for the market. We're right back there again. What this says is that, yes, the market could pop up or down, by quite a bit. And I wish I could remember the formula offhand. Ron was telling me, but you can actually compute this number into like what the probability of the market going up or down by a certain amount is tomorrow, right? And it's not a predictor of where it's going to be. It's just how much it's likely to swing up and down. And so I found it fascinating. Ron told me, by the way, this is not financial advice for anybody. I'm not a financial expert by any stretch of the imagination. So don't listen to what I say, but like, it doesn't make a ton of sense to pour into the market when the VIX is this high. Wait for it to go into what, the 30s maybe. The truth is we've had a way low ride of volatility for so long now. Some would say due to quantitative easing and financial stimulus and other factors, fueling stock buybacks and stuff like that kept things smooth and profitable, man, for a long time now. But something tells me that ride is coming to an end. So, another graph thing started me thinking about graphs this morning. And I started thinking about graph paper. And I remembered this Incompetech website that will make custom graph paper for you. If you're into graphing, if you're into role-playing games or mapping or whatever, and you need some graph paper, you got a printer and you're at home, you don't got to order from Amazon. Go print out some of your own. Personally, when I graph, I like graphing in Viz.js. This is a JavaScript library that I often use to do graphing. And I don't see it used a lot, or I don't hear it talked about a lot in the JavaScript world. There's like Chart.js and some other ones that get a lot of love. And those do basic like 2D charts and stuff, which you can do with this. But they have so many great libraries. These network graphs are some of my favorites. Because they often include they're not just static maps. They include like physics. So you can actually like drag these maps around and like explore the relationships and zoom in. I don't know. It's pretty cool stuff. The libraries are exceptionally easy to use. I use them many times creating stuff for clients back in my consultant days. And sometimes I just use them just because they're fun. I love graphing, like I said. So it's really cool to be able to do this kind of stuff and explore data in visual ways. And to tell you the truth, the JavaScript required to do this kind of stuff, it's not crazy at all, man. If you look at this stuff, it's pretty straightforward. If you've got even basic JavaScript on a web page type chops, you can do this. Now, some of the tricky part is going to be getting data into the graph. Like, do you hard code it in your code? You can do that to start. You can just like put data sets literally right in your code. You can write little functions that'll generate random data sets for you to do stuff. And that's cool, I guess. But it's a little better if you've got a server and a database and lots of data and can send data down via JSON or whatever and render it on the fly. That reminds me, one of the things I wanted to look at was public data sets and being able to graph those. And I remember there were some good resources for this stuff. It looks like there's a few. I'm going to have to research this and check it out. Maybe I could hook up some public data sets to some graphing libraries. Doesn't that sound like a great way to relax in these crazy times? Maybe get some COVID info and throw up some death graphs. Yeah, it's grim times, people. So, some people find statistics and numbers and stuff overwhelming. Other people find them comforting, like to quantify things. I see a lot of people out there, like a lot of math heads are like trapped at home, and I see them charting and graphing and looking at numbers, looking at their local numbers, creating their own charts and stuff. This is a way for people with those types of inclinations, if you will, those types of like nerdy mathematical leanings, to like put their arms around a problem that they can't otherwise, right? You feel so helpless right now. That's the main thing that I'm feeling right now these days, is like a feeling of just like powerlessness, because there's not much I can do other than like going and securing toilet paper for my family and maybe some of my neighbors and stuff. I got some old neighbors around here. It's really hard to feel like you can do anything when there's an invisible invader, right? Like sickening people. And then to even reach out and interact with other people is dangerous. That's a combination to me that's really weird and unprecedented in my life for sure. Like, I don't remember it. And the effects this has to be having on people. I just start thinking about people that have, even if you have even the mildest form of like OCD or like germ phobia, this has got to be a living nightmare for you. And with no sign of when it's going to end, and that the worst is still, it seems like, a little bit ahead of us. Seems like we've got 2 weeks to the peak, maybe. Things are looking a lot better here in California because it seems like we locked down early and stuff. And also, I think a lot of it has to do with like geography of the outbreak zones, the hot zones. Like, New York, there's 12 million people or whatever it is, and that little island, or in the, I guess, across the boroughs, but whatever, a lot of people. And in Manhattan, they're crammed into little buildings and going in elevators and up crowded stairways and stuff. And it's cold. So I don't know, man. That just seems like a breeding ground. Imagine what's going to be going on in our prisons. Imagine what's going to be going on in nursing homes. Imagine what's going on in, that's why they're closing down dormitories here in my hometown. They closed down the dormitories at the local college and sent everybody home. Because when you're messing with this kind of stuff, you're messing with fire. Anyway, this is my first personal live stream. I don't think anybody's watching it live. I don't care. I don't care if anybody watches it in the replay either. Because, man, this was fun. I feel a little bit better just for talking about it. So thanks for listening or not listening, or thank you, internet, for being there, I guess. Anyway, I got to get to work. I'll talk to you later, maybe tomorrow.